Dear students, today we will be doing another ode by Shelley, which is Ode to the West Wind. In this ode, Shelley is describing the fierce or the power of the west wind, and we will see how it blows and carries with it the dead leaves on the surface of the earth. O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's beam. Poet calls the west wind as wild, untamed because it is uncontrollable, and he calls it as the very breath of the autumn season. Thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven like ghosts from an enchanter flame. So the dead leaves are here compared to the ghost, and he says that just like the ghosts who fly from the presence of the magician, the dead leaves are also carried from one direction to another. These dead leaves are yellow, black, pale, and hectic red in color. Pastel stricken multitudes, and they are in plenty, heaps and heaps of them. O thou who charitest to their dark wintry bed the winged seeds, the west wind along with it carries the winged seeds, and these seeds they lie buried under the cold ground. These winged seeds are here compared to the corpses who lie within their own graves. Until the spring comes and the wind blows, they lie there. Thine azure sister of the spring shall blow her clarion over the dreaming earth and fill driving sweet birds like flocks to feed in air. So, when the spring comes, it gives a call, and these seeds which are buried under the ground, they sprout up, they germinate, and they shoot upwards in the sunshine and air with living hues and others plain and hill. We can see the plains as well as the hills covered with various colors during the springtime. O wild spirit, which art moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, hear, O hear. The poet is addressing the west wind, and he is calling it as a destroyer as well as a preserver, because it destroys the beauty of the tree by shedding away its leaves, and secondly, it preserves the seeds to germinate when the spring comes. In the second stanza, the poet is going to describe the activities of the west wind which can be seen on the surface of the sky. Thou on whose stream mid the steep sky's commotion, we can see that there are clouds which are moving from one direction to another, causing noisy, and these clouds can be compared to the dead leaves which are shed from the branches of the trees. The poet imagines as if the clouds are shaken from the branches of heaven. In another line, he calls the clouds as the angels of rain and lightning. They are supposed to be the messengers of rain and lightning. There are spread on the blue surface of thine airy surge, like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce maiden. Now, the poet is again comparing these clouds uplifted like the hair of a frenzied woman, even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith's height. He says that these clouds, they move from one direction to another, causing noise and commotion, and they are disorderly. Even from the horizon, he can see the approaching storm. The locks of approaching storm. Thou dirge of the dying year. Dying year means the year which is coming to an end. So he says, the sound of the west wind is as if a funeral song of the dying year, and the night with the clouds will work as a dome of the tomb. He says, soon the rains will fall from the clouds of vapors, from whose solid atmosphere black rain and fire and hail will burst. Means soon the rains will come from the clouds, and the rains, because it is night, it will be black in color, and fire, which stands for thunder and lightning. In the third stanza, the poet says, thou who didst waken from his summer dreams the blue Mediterranean, where he lay, lulled by a coil of crystalline streams. Now, in this stanza, the poet is describing the activities of the west wind on the surface of the Mediterranean Sea. He says that thus the Mediterranean is awakened from the summer dreams which it was enjoying, and it was lulled to sleep by the sound of the transparent streams. Beside a pumice isle in Bay's Bay, and saw in sleep old palaces and towers quivering within the waves' intenser day. What did it see in its dream? It saw the beautiful palaces which once stood on its bank, which are now overgrown with azure moss and flowers. So sweet is the fragrance that the sense faints picturing them. Thou for whose path the Atlantic's level powers, means that the west wind is so powerful that even the Atlantic divides into two, and it gives a passage through which the west wind reaches the planet